Yeah, I said it was no good that Melisha went. I think that she's a beautiful girl.
Did you kiss her today?
Yeah, I kissed her today, yeah. Twice.
No, it was 3 times actually.
Oh my fucking God! Two together like a fucking piece of fucking wood.
Really?
Yes.
What are we then?
If you had said to me that the entertainment of the season is going to come from Yasmin, Harry, and Dejon, I would have said never. Harry's got a mischievous face, so it's acceptable. Yasmin has came in on smoke, so it's acceptable. The most lethal person is Dejon, because Dejon appears to be very quiet, and yet he gets up to no good. I love that at least he was owning his crap, although he was trying to sort of distance himself from allegations like, the girl saying that, you're nicer or you're a different person when you're not around Meghan. And then for Harry, for him to lie and say that's not me with a straight face doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And also, I didn't quite get Romel. I don't get whether there's beef between Romel, Dejon, and Harrison. I'm not understanding that. I don't really understand. I would have thought they would have been the best of friends. But anyway, this season is now Dejon, Harry, and Yasmin present Love Island because they are the entertainment that we needed. And Shakira, I love that Shakira stands her ground. I have a feeling things are over between her and Ben, and I can't wait. Anyway, hey there, it's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. I'm sorry, but the thirst is real. I'm getting thirsty vibes from Meghan, and Helena. Helena is even worse. She's even worse. And sadly, since Emily is now joining that trio to become part of the quartet, and I can't wait to see how they turn on her. Anyway, so it's the aftermath of the game, and people are in their feelings. They're feeling some type of way because they feel disrespected. You have Helena, Meg, and Meghan having this conversation about how their guys disrespected them. They expected better. And it's like, seriously, you expected better from Harry. You stole him from somebody's bed and went with him to the hideaway. So how are you expecting any better? They storm off. They go to the changing room. And you have the guys sitting, just quietly. So you have Connor, Tommy, and Harry and Dejon. And it's like Dejon and Harry don't even know what they've done wrong. And they are surprised that their girls they feel like their girls are overreacting. That's the impression that I get. Because they don't understand why the girls are upset, what they've done wrong. It was a game. Dejon is stuck by the fact that he was asked to kiss the person he thought he was most attracted to outside of his partner. So he kissed Yasmin. And so there's no problem there. Yasmin then pulled Shay for a chat. Poor Shay. Sadly for Shay, I think the idea that he's got a child put a couple of girls off, and that didn't sort of help with his cause. And Tommy having a go at him just made things worse, because it seems in the villa, if one person turns against you, everybody turns against you. Or if somebody puts a label on you, then everyone is put off by you. And I wish he had explored things with Melisha, but he decided to go for someone who sadly played him. They sit down for a conversation, and you have, Yasmin apologizing for what happened, because he says, you made me look like a mug. He's now upset because he felt like the guys were mocking him because of the sound that Dejon made as they were walking to the fire pit. And it's really sad because he can tell that she's not that into him. She wants excitement. She wants that fiery stuff, and he can't give her that. So he has to be content with that, and he has to keep it stepping. One thing I like about Shay, though, is if there's an issue, he's going to handle it calmly. You'll never know whether he's upset or not, because after his conversation with Yasmin, he went to the guys and he told them, I didn't like the noise you made, because at the end of the day, it's unacceptable. I am already feeling like I've been played for a mug, and you just making that noise made things worse. Dejon didn't say anything, but you had the other guys trying to clarify and sort of explain themselves. And it's like Dejon should have just apologized, in my opinion. He should have just been the bigger person and just said, I'm sorry, I meant no harm. I didn't mean to disrespect you. I understand how you feel. You then have, Shay go and sit down with Harrison, Ben, and Romel. And it's just saying, I didn't expect that from the guys, because they are friends. They came up with their little plan to kiss the girl. So there's now this thing whereby Harrison is feeling some type of way about Dejon. And I personally think it's a communication issue. I think they all need to sit down and have a guys talk, and they'll be fine. I think this beef about Meg and stuff is unnecessary. You then have the rest of the girls outside of Meg and Helena. They're on the day beds with Yasmin, and Yasmin is just saying, she had a conversation with Harry. Harry was undressing her. You're saying, you're undressing me with your eyes and that sort of thing. So their conversation was very flirty. And Meg and Tommy deserve one another because they're both the CNN of the villa. Because as soon as Helena made an appearance, you had Meg open her top and bottom lip and parrot every single thing that was said by Yasmin. And it's like, what business of yours is it? What business of yours is it? I love that Halima said it's unacceptable. You can't continue to put up with Harry's nonsense. And for Helena to call Harry and then be making it to seem as though Yasmin is throwing herself at him didn't make sense. She's very delusional. If delusional was a person, she would be the team captain. Because I don't get how she can't see that this guy is playing her. He's using her to stay in the villa until he finds the person that he wants. He wanted Shakira. It didn't work out with Shakira, so he's content to stay with her. And everybody else in the villa can see this and understand this. And I don't get how she can't see it. The girls were frustrated because they expected her to tell Harry that it's over. But I think her problem is, if she sort of shuts down with Harry, there's no one else that's going to like her. So she has no choice but to put up with Harry's nonsense. You have Meg finally sit down with Dejon. She's very upset. She says to Dejon, you told me you weren't attracted to Yasmin, so why are you doing that? And it's like, seriously, girl. You can't tell this man how he feels about someone. You can't tell him. You should have maybe asked him, why didn't you tell me that you were attracted to this girl when we were having the threesome conversation? Why didn't you tell me? Because I was under the impression that, you weren't attracted to her. It was just a jokey situation. Now I'm starting to question. The Harrison coming into the situation didn't make any sense because Harrison at the end of the day is not a threat to them as a couple. I don't think Harrison is interested in, Megan, unless he just wants to play with Dejon and just make Dejon jealous. Otherwise, I don't think personally he's attracted to her. Harrison might be more attracted to people like Shakira, but I don't think he's attracted to Megan. You then have, Dejon storms off because he's fed up. He's fed up of the conversation. It's not going anywhere. And Tommy runs across to hear what's going on. Tommy's CNN, just like his girl. He was running there to get information so that he could run back with it and give it to his girl. And then she will give it to Megan. The two of them need to be voted out because there's nothing about them as a couple outside of playing CNN. And we don't need CNN because we can already see what's happening. You had Alima go and console Megan and tell her, you don't need to cry. Don't give him that. Don't let him see you cry. Don't break down in front of him. I think she was sort of trying to encourage him to sort of tell a girl, stand up, don't be weak, because if he sees that as your weak point, he will use that against you. You have the Islanders get ready for bed, and while they're getting ready for bed, Yasmin goes and tells Shay that she's going to sleep upstairs because she wants to give him his space. And for me, that's more or less her telling him it's over. It is over. She wants excitement. He is boring and is going to struggle to find a girl who wants a guy as boring as him. He would have been better off with Emily, but Emily settled herself on Connor, so I don't know how that's going to go. Anyway, all the Islanders get ready for bed. I'm so sorry if there's any background noises. I don't know what's going on with my neighbors. Anyway, so in the morning, the Islanders wake up. You have Tony, Yasmin, and Harrison join everyone in the bedroom. And people are teasing them about the threesome and saying, oh, there goes the threesome crew. And it's the two girls, and poor Harrison is caught in the middle of that mess. It's still very tense and very aux galore because people feel some type of way about the challenge the night before. You have Megan. She's in her feelings because she feels Dejon is not treating her the way she wants to be treated. Dejon, on his part, he couldn't be bothered because as far as he's concerned, it seems only his mistakes are being called out. Megan is not realizing that some of the things that she says when she's upset are very demoralizing and very disrespectful. And so for Dejon, he says he wants a moment, he wants time to breathe. He's on the daybeds with Emily and Connor. And so he says, he's not going to talk to her. He wants a moment to debrief just because he feels like anything he says or anything he does, he is the one at fault. She is not taking responsibility for her actions. Megan, on the other part, needs better friends. She needs friends like Alima. She needs people who will tell her the truth of when she's wrong and when she's right. In this situation, she needed to apologize. She's had so many goes at this man and so belittled him. It doesn't make sense. Yes, I don't understand why, he's trying to equate sex position with him going to kiss someone. They're both disrespectful, the things that they did. So they both need to apologize to one another. You have Shakira. Shakira is upset. She is upset, and she's justified in being upset because at the end of the day, the way Ben treated her, she didn't like it. And sadly, he seems to be catching feelings, and she is still in this place of limbo where she's waiting for him to show his ass. And because there's a possibility of that, she's not allowing herself to fall for this man, and Ben is busy sitting there. He doesn't know what he did wrong, and it's like, this is why it's important to have maturity. Maturity is not an age, because you have Harry who's 30 years old, and then you have Ben who's 22 years old, and they're behaving the same like little children. So it's pointless to say age. It's just a lack of emotional intelligence, I think, is what is lacking. You have Shay and Yasmin sit down for round 2. You have the girl saying, oh, this is the first time they've had a chat, when she says she really likes this girl. And it's like, stay out of her business. Stay out of her business. She didn't come to you for advice. She didn't ask you to help her deal with the consequences for her action. She's standing on business. Leave her alone. She's in the villa to get to know people. So allow her to know people. Shay is still feeling some type of way. I think they wanted to break up, but they didn't break up. That's the way that I got it, because at the end of the day, if they do break up, Shay has got no one outside of a friendship couple, and the possibility of him going home is highly likely. Even though he is boring, it will make things worse. So I think this is why he decided not to actually call it quits per se, but he decided to leave it hanging. You have Harrison having a conversation with Shakira. Harrison and Shakira get along very well. I think if she had her way, she would rather have Harrison, but the problem is Harrison is with her best friend in the villa, so I don't think she's willing to go there. So they're having a conversation, they're just chatting, they're enjoying themselves, and then you have Helena come and pull him for a chat. And it's like Helena is doing this performative stance that sadly she's not able to deal with the consequences of, because she's dealing with Harry, and Harry can be a menace. So the idea that she thinks she's going to make him jealous by pulling Harrison for a chat and whatever is a big mistake, huge mistake, because Harry is going to play in her face and actually do things that are worse, and he actually did. So after that conversation, you have Harry walk across to the daybeds, pulls Yasmin for a chat, and takes her to the hideaway. And it's like, this is the level of disrespect. These people were out in the open. You had Helena and Harrison in the open, and you've taken your partner to the hideaway. How much more disrespectful can you get before this woman, learns her lesson and realizes that you're really not that into her? I don't get why this woman doesn't see that, because even in the morning you had Helena bragging to the girls that I'm not intimidated by Yasmin, because at the end of the day, she's no competition for me. Well, he took her to the hideaway and kissed her face off twice. So how do we deal with this? What do we say? And she was trying to peep to see what was happening. And it's like, Helena, sit your ass down. You opened this door, and Harry did a cartwheel to enter. So here we are. So you have Harry come out of the hideaway with Yasmin. And personally, this is what I don't like. I really don't like it. The fact that the girls are trying to sort of corner her and bully her. I don't understand why every season production don't call out the bullies and don't call out the unacceptable behavior, the way people are isolated and everybody else turns on them. This is Love Island. The purpose is to explore connections. If someone is exploring a connection, you're not married, you're with two. And if you have stolen the guy from somebody else, you have no leg to stand on. So the idea that you have that trio, quartet, whatever they call themselves, I don't like it. The fact that Emily has lashed herself onto the Megan and Helena show, I don't understand it, because that crew is very toxic and very messy, and I don't like how territorial they are over men that are not territorial over them. Anyway, you have them sort of ask Harry and Yasmin, what did you kiss? Did you kiss? And Harry had sort of a pact with Yasmin before they left the hideaway to say, don't tell anyone that we kissed, so just keep it quiet. So the two of them both insisted, no, we just had a good chat, we just had a good chat. And they were trying to corner her. And it's like, why are you cornering her? Why not corner Harry? Why not go and call Harry? And for them to be upset that Harry left the hideaway and came and sat with them doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Because when Helena left the hideaway, she went and she hugged Sierra immediately. Immediately. So the audacity for them to be offended by the same act doesn't make sense. Anyway, the islanders get ready for the night. You have Shay sort of having a conversation with Connor, and he's being asked, so what's happening with you and Yasmin? Where do you stand? And he's saying, well, I think that's come to the end, so it puts me in a very strange position whereby I don't know what to do next. And it's like, this is why he should have explored connections with all three girls when they came in, but he didn't. So that's his own fault. You have Yasmin getting ready on her own, and I don't know why, whether it's production that asked her to go and dress on her own, that way people wouldn't ask her questions, or whether she felt uncomfortable and she wanted to be alone, or the girls refused to be in the same space as her. I don't get it. For Meg to say, oh, she doesn't want to be friends with people, she's not there for friends. It's Love Island, it's not Friendship Island. What are you people doing that are making her feel uncomfortable and not want to be your friend is the question. Because all of you, what she's doing is exactly what you did. So the audacity to be upset by it, I do not get it. The islanders come out, they pick up their drinks, and you have this conversation again with that quartet. That quartet can be voted out. As much as I like Meg with Dejon, I don't mind her going home. We can bring back Malaysia. So Megan, Helena, and Emily, for some reason, are sitting there and they're busy waffling on about, oh, these guys, they want their cake and ate it, Dejon, and it's like, you need friends that tell you the truth, especially on a show like this. You need someone who's going to be honest with you. The audacity for them to be offended for the very same acts doesn't make sense, because if you don't want to be treated like that, break things off. I'd rather go home single than stay in the villa and put up with someone who's not giving me what I want. You have poor Harry. He's confiding in Tommy, the CNN of the villa, and Dejon, that, oh, I shared a kiss with her in the hideaway, blah, 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 but I didn't tell Helena. He's asked, so what's going on? Are you ready to jump ship? And he said, no, I'm not ready to jump ship. I think I have more substance with Helena. This is the same thing he said. Harry will always want to sort of secure himself a spot. He said the same thing when he was with Helena. He said Helena is just a fling and Shakira is the real deal. Now he's saying Yasmin is just a fling and Helena is the real deal. Make it make sense. Which is it? You have Helena. She's speaking to Tony and she's sort of telling Tony, yes, we did, we shared a kiss, and so this is where we are. And I feel sorry for her. I really do. I wish every time or every season, if someone felt like they were being targeted or if someone started being targeted, production would pull the people that are targeting that person out. Because at the end of the day, no one is there to be made miserable by somebody else because they can't get what they want. The girls were busy yapping. You have Helena say, if they kiss, then that's the end. I'm happy to leave him. And it's like, you should have left him the very first time he was going after Malaysia and stuff. But you didn't. You are going to sit around and be used and be made to look like an idiot by this boy until he decides to dump you. So please don't make any threats that you're not prepared to write the check. Harry then leaves Dejon and Tommy, and Tommy's waffling. I hope the guys find out. I really do hope the guys find out that whatever they're telling this boy, he's just passing it on. There's no guy code as far as Tommy's concerned. So you have the islanders, they're just hanging around the villa, and then suddenly they are at the fire pit and it's about to go down. I think production expected a fallout that was bigger than what they got from the beer pong game. So this time they decided to come with the smoke. They were not going to wait for, the tweets from the public. They decided, let's stir it up, and stir it up they did because things went south so quickly. It wasn't even funny. Anyway, so you were going to read a card. The islanders would read a message on a card, and then everyone would have to guess who it was, and they were messy. They really wanted smoke on Harry, Dejon, and Yasmin. That's all the production was after. And they wanted to separate Shakira and Ben, and I think it's about time. Anyway, so the first one was read by Tony. She said, I can feel the bollocks, mate. Do you know what it is like? I've had the most kisses and I'm not in the doghouse. And everyone said, Harry. No one is surprised. It is Harry, because at the end of the day, he can do whatever he wants. And what will happen is Helena will have an issue with the girl, but she'll never have an issue with the person who's doing the nonsense. Next up was Connor. She's never orgasmed from a guy. So if I give her her first orgasm, then she'll fall in love because I know what I'm doing in the bedroom. And it was Dejon, which was right when you said that about Yasmin. I remember this very well. Yasmin on her part said, oh, I could fall in love if you were to give me an orgasm. Megan had to say, well, I've had orgasms before. And it's like, girl, please keep quiet. It's not your turn. Anyway, next up was Shay. I don't know if the conversation is stimulating because I'm quite a smart girl. And it was Shakira, and she spoke about Ben, which was the truth. Ben comes across as boring and still and sort of one-dimensional, so I'm not surprised. Ben didn't like that. He started making sarcastic remarks, but they weren't hitting very well like Dejon or Harry because they didn't make sense. And Harrison was busting his lungs out because he couldn't help but see exactly what was being said. And I think Shakira said this to Harrison, if I'm not mistaken. Next up, Megan, you caught my eye when I was at the fire pit last night. You always make me want to go and pick you. And it was Harry. Who did you say it about? Yasmin. And it was right. And this is good. And I love this because at the end of the day, you had Helena bragging that, Yasmin is throwing herself at Harry. And yet Harry is just giving as good as he's getting. So, hey, now you know the devil you're dealing with. You thought you were smart in stealing him, but now he's about to give you smoke. You're going to eat pepper with this man. Next up was Dejon. Tip me upside down, bend me over so many times that can happen. And then it was Yasmin to Harry. Everyone started wanting to give Yasmin smoke. And Yasmin was like, I wouldn't just out of the blue say that. There must be a reason why I said that. And Harry had to answer and say, yeah, she just didn't say it out of the blue. Yeah, there was something going on. That's why she said that. And it's like, I love that Yasmin stands her ground. And the girls, as much as they try to gang up on her, one-on-one, they couldn't take her on. So this is why they always try to come in a gang. Anyway, Yasmin, I don't know where she's at. I don't know if she's a respectful girl. I feel like she's a very flirty girl that don't know her boundaries. And this was Ben. We all remember this very well after he was upset about the Harrison chat and he said this about Shakira. Shakira was upset. She was seething. And you could tell the beginning of the end, if not the end of their relationship. Then Ben, I think it's more flirty with Helena. Therefore, I think Shakira has a bit more substance. Like a chat, there is more to it. And it was about Harry, and it was true. Harry, I said this before earlier in my review, that Harry says this about every girl, so it's nothing new. The girls were calling him out on it, and he was okay with that. Alima, I think it comes back to the fact that we see a different side of you when she is not breathing down your neck. And we all remember this. This was when Tony, Dejon, and Yasmin were sitting after they were left on the sun deck by Megan because she had stormed off and was expecting, Dejon to storm off after her. And, you had this back and forth between Dejon and the girls. Because Tony said, the thing is, people make it seem like we are chasing after Dejon. We're not chasing after Dejon. Dejon is the one who approached us. And then we had a chat. And Dejon, I think, didn't quite understand what Tony was saying. This is why he started lashing out. Or he was trying to go into sort of preservation mode. I didn't quite understand. It wasn't such a big deal, really. It wasn't. And then Helena read, gutted, that's no good. Militia was unreal. And you had, suddenly Romel had a voice. He said, oh, we all know who says unreal or something like that. And so they all said Dejon. And Dejon was like, yeah, you're all looking for, you're all trying to make a big deal out of nothing. At the end of the day, we were all gutted that she went home. Let us be real. We were all gutted she went home. We wanted her around. And no one could say we were not gutted. So, hey, it is what it is. And then the main event. And Dejon, I don't know why he didn't stand in his truth. Harry was standing in his truth. Yes, he would lie before the answer came out, but once the answer came out, he'd take ownership of his crap. Anyway, last one was Romel read, do you think I should kiss her? Kiss Yasmin, cause I will. And everyone was sort of, well, you had Megan say, I think it's between Dejon and Harry. Turns out it's Dejon, it's Harry, so not Dejon, it's Harry. And then the fact that people started asking what happened, and he said, well, it was last night, during the challenge. I enjoyed the kiss during the challenge, so I was saying I could kiss her again, but I didn't kiss her last night. And then Emily suddenly has a voice. She asks, so did you kiss her today? And then and then he eventually said, yeah, twice. And then I love that Yasmin went, no, not twice, 3 times. For Meg to suddenly have a voice and want to vent and sort of shout, it's none of your business, please, buddy. Sit down. Be humble. Be humble and sit down and mind your business with your boring guy. We don't need to hear from the peanut gallery. I loved the end. I watched it so many times, it's unhealthy. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 10. Bye guys.